there was a report called into the police station that there might be a burglary taking place. So far, so good, right? I mean, if I was trying to jigger into, well, I guess this is my house now, so it probably wouldn't happen. But let's say my old house in Chicago. Here I'd get shot.
Woo! The President of the United States says he'd get shot in Hyde Park trying to jigger his way into the House. Welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. We're discussing whether Dr. Henry Louis Gates was justified or whether police officers were abusing their authority. Attorney Jeffrey Cusic joins me for the balancing of scales in an unbalanced world. Jeffrey, was the president right? I mean, that was a pretty bold statement, man. And it definitely was not in the teleprompter.
Well, again, I mean, if you think about the way that African Americans view their relationship with police, I would hazard a guess, is very different than how white Americans view their relationships with the police. And so all of that baggage, that racial baggage that we have, was on the minds of Dr. Gates and on the police officer when they came in contact with one another.
Yeah.
Dr. Gates, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Dr. Gates, as an African-American male, even though he's almost 60 years old, brings to the event the history of being an African-American in America. The white officer brings with him his own racial baggage dealing with African-Americans as a police officer. And so here you have it come together in Dr. Gates's own house, and here we are talking about it, and the president commenting about it, even stepping on his own press conference. We should be talking about healthcare reform today instead of the incident between Dr. Gates and the police officer.
You are so right. And I posted both blogs today. I posted the Henry Louis Gates blog a few days ago. I posted a new one today, and then I posted the healthcare one as well. But then that reporter asked the question and kind of turns everything on its ear.
That's right.
You know, Jeffrey, let me go to some phone calls. I'm going to go to Demi first. Demi, thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live. You're on the phone with Attorney Jeffrey Cusic. What's your comment, Demi?
Yes, hi, good evening.
Good evening.
You know, when the president spoke about it at the time, it sounded like it could be, racism, because once the gentleman showed his ID that he lived there, that should have been the end of that. So why was he taken for disorderly conduct? I mean, and I believe they said that somehow him and this officer had a run-in before. So I don't know what's going on, but I think the president was right in just standing up and calling it what it was.
Yeah, that's right. Demi, thanks for the phone call. We appreciate you. Let me go to Frank next. Frank, thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live. Frank, what is your comment? Hi, Frank, what's your comment? Let me go to Allison. Allison, thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live. Allison, what's your comment?
Hi. Unfortunately, it happened to Dr. Gates. This happens all the time to African Americans, especially males. So I mean, it's getting a lot of publicity because it's him, because he's a scholar, he's influent, and that's the only reason it's getting a lot of attention, because it happens every day, and it is it's a shame to say that it's still going on today.
That's right, Allison.
It's terrible.
It is.
That he's on the news, because the average Joe could walk down the street and get identified. I see it every day. I live in Oak Park. I see it every day on the street. People, young guys, good guys, walk in the store, being followed, being looked at. I mean, and it's terrible.
Yeah, and you know what, Allison? Here's the deal. He was in his own house, Allison.
I know.
There we go.
Know.
Hey, thanks for the call, Allison. I appreciate you. You know what, Attorney Cusic? Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. is in his own house, man. Canary yellow house in the middle of Cambridge. Didn't people on the block know that Henry Louis Gates lived there? I mean, come on. And come on, Attorney Cusic. You're in your house with your wife. Authorities come up to you, knock on the door, get in, and escort you out in cuffs? Come on, attorney.
Well, something broke down there, obviously. And again, I want to go back to the point that I made earlier, which is the police have the power to exercise discretion. They didn't have to arrest Dr. Gates. they, I think, dropped the ball in the way that they handled this. Anytime you have to take a man out of his own house, a 60-year or 59-year-old man who walks with a cane, and escort him out in handcuffs out of his own house, then something went wrong.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I can't necessarily say that the officer acted in a racist way, but what I can say is, and I would agree with President Obama, the police acted stupidly. Now, that doesn't mean that the police are stupid.
Right.
But, you know, he acted stupidly. We all have done some stupid things, but that does not define who we are. It doesn't mean that we're stupid. It just means that on this occasion, we acted in a stupid way.
Absolutely. Attorney Cusic, stay with us. We're taking your phone calls now. What should a police officer do? Ignore a person jimmying their way into a home, ask a few questions, or just cuff them, although you know the person owns the home? Henry Louis Gates, PhD, arrested, released, and thinking about suing. Was this a power trip on Gates and Crowley's parts, or just blatant racism? Call me, 630-575-TALK. Attorney Jeffrey Cusic joins me for clarity in the midst of a cloudy situation. Hit me on Twitter at GerardMC, Facebook and MySpace at Garrard McClendon, and CLTV.com/GML. More Garrard McClendon Live